What is an individual organism? For many living things, the definition is straightforward. An organism is a single, physically contiguous, and genetically uniform entity. But if we look deeper into the tree of life, the situation becomes more complicated. At the smallest scale, we have the cell, the basic building block of living things. A huge variety of single-celled life forms exists, and some exhibit incredibly complex behavior for their tiny size. Like all organisms, cells must grow, survive in their environment, and eventually reproduce to perpetuate themselves for the future. Some cells have learned to stick together in order to survive. Volvox carteri, a species of green algae, is one of the simplest multicellular organisms. This species lives in spherical clusters of around 2,000 cells. Most of these cells have flagella that help propel the group through the water. But a few cells are not flagellated and instead are specialized for reproduction. It is these cells that divide to create new Volvox clusters or produce gametes for sexual reproduction. Though it has just 2 cell types, Volvox provides a model for understanding all multicellular life. It consists of multiple, genetically identical, but functionally specialized units that work together to ensure the survival of the whole organism. In particular, there is a distinction between somatic cells, which sustain the organism's life, and germ cells, which produce offspring. This division of labor is a common theme throughout the tree of life. Within the clade of animals, we find many examples of multicellularity, including ourselves. But some animals take it a step further. The Portuguese man-of-war, Physalia physalis, is a siphonophore, a type of animal related to jellyfish and corals. What appears to be a single animal is actually a colony made up of many individual bodies called zooids. The zooids are all clones of one original polyp, so like the cells of a Volvox colony, they are genetically identical. And just like in the Volvox, individual units are functionally specialized, with different zooids for floating, defense, feeding, and reproduction. The zooids share resources across the colony and cannot survive on their own. So although the colony is made up of many individual bodies, it is the whole group that acts as a unified organism. Elsewhere in the tree of animals, a different arrangement can be found. Atta colombica, a species of leafcutter ant, lives in social groups made up of millions of individual ants. An ant colony is made up of a single reproductive female, called the queen, along with 1 to 2.5 million sterile workers that differ in body size and shape according to their role in the colony. The queen spends her life laying eggs that hatch into the other members of the colony, while the workers forage for food, protect and expand the nest, and care for the queen and her offspring. Unlike the siphonophores, the members of an ant colony are not genetically identical, but they are still closely related, as the workers are all daughters of the same queen. It seems like each ant could be considered a separate individual, yet in many ways, it is the entire colony that functions as an organism, with individual ants specialized for defense, feeding, digestion, and reproduction. From this point of view, the worker ants are the somatic tissue making up the body of the colony, and the queen is the reproductive germline. As we have seen, organisms can come in a variety of forms, including single independent cells, multicellular bodies, colonies of genetically identical clones, and highly organized social groups of closely related individuals. Yet all of these diverse forms are simply alternate ways of dealing with the basic needs of life: survival and reproduction.